The current government shutdown is not only the longest in U.S. history, but also potentially the most devastating. This is a critical issue that demands our attention. Historically, shutdowns have caused temporary economic setbacks, but the current 36-day funding lapse is already having a significant impact on the world's largest economy. Millions of Americans are facing a lack of food stamp benefits essential for feeding their families. Roughly 1.4 million federal employees, despite working tirelessly, have not received their paychecks, and the lack of government data releases has left investors and policymakers in the dark, unable to make informed decisions. Alec Phillips, chief political economist at Goldman Sachs, warns that this shutdown is likely to have the greatest economic impact of any on record. Even if it ends soon, it will slow down the growth of real gross domestic product, GDP, by a substantial margin during the fourth quarter. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimates an even larger reduction in GDP, with potential losses of up to $14 billion during an 8-week shutdown. But here's where it gets controversial. The precise economic damage is hard to measure due to the very shutdown itself, creating an information blackout. David Kelly, chief global strategist at J.P. Morgan Asset Management, highlights how the shutdown comes at a particularly bad time, exacerbating an already slowing economy. He questions the willingness of politicians to inflict public pain for political gain. The lack of economic data releases is a significant shift from previous shutdowns, where the Bureau of Labor Statistics continued to operate. This time, critical insights on consumer spending and the monthly jobs report are missing, leaving policymakers with limited information. The Federal Reserve, for the first time, had to decide on interest rates without the monthly jobs report, potentially impacting their ability to make informed decisions. If the shutdown continues, it could dissuade the Fed to forego cutting rates at the December meeting. Fed Chair Jerome Powell likened the situation to driving in the fog, suggesting that a slowdown might be necessary. Even after the government reopens, the quality of economic data could be compromised due to the inability of the BLS to conduct surveys during the shutdown. The shutdown is also likely to temporarily inflate the unemployment rate for October. The good news is that most of the economic damage is expected to be reversed quickly once the government reopens. Goldman Sachs predicts a boost in GDP as furloughed workers return and delayed federal spending is recovered. However, this rebound relies on a key assumption that federal workers will be repaid, as has been the policy. But this is where the situation gets even more uncertain. President Donald Trump has questioned the policy of paying furloughed workers, despite previously signing a law that guarantees back pay. The White House's lack of commitment to paying these workers at the end of the shutdown raises concerns about potential lasting economic damage. This shutdown is a complex issue with far-reaching consequences, and it's important to consider all perspectives. What are your thoughts on the potential economic impact and the role of politics in this situation? Feel free to share your opinions and engage in a discussion in the comments.